President Barack Obama set the tone of a 55-minute speech this week at Cairo University with his greeting of "Peace be upon you." The Oklahoman's Carla Hinton reports local Muslim leaders say the president showed his respect for the Muslim world and will have a positive effect on efforts to bring peace and religious tolerance. Meanwhile, Chris Castile from our Washington, D.C. bureau reports Senator Jim Inhofe criticized Obama's speech, saying it was, quote, un-American for him to give an address on foreign soil that referred to the war in Iraq as, quote, a war of choice, and that didn't criticize Iran for pursuing a nuclear program. Here are the highlights of the speech. The president called for, quote, new beginning between the United States and Muslims, and said together they could confront violent extremism and advance the timeless search for peace in the Middle East. He said American ties with Israel are unbreakable, yet insisted Palestinians must have a state, and said continued Israeli settlement in the West Bank is not legitimate. He assured the U.S. would pull out all of its troops out of Iraq by 2012 and promised no permanent U.S. presence in Afghanistan. He treaded lightly on the spread of democracy. Obama said he has a commitment to governments, quote, that reflect the will of the people, and yet he said, quote, no system of government can or should be imposed upon one nation. The Oklahoman's Carla Hinton spoke with local Muslim leaders in our podcast studios.
I was very pleased to see President Obama speaking to Muslims all around the world. And he began with the traditional greeting of Assalamu alaikum. The speech, it was well crafted and is well thought out because it touched on a various array of issues that are of concern to the Muslim community, both here in the United States and around the world. So I was very pleased to hear that. And he really outlined a lot of points and stressed some concerns that he has for people in regards to issues that we face.
Chris Castile says Senator Jim Inhofe was critical of specific points of the speech. Inhofe said the president suggested in his speech that torture was conducted at a military prison at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Inhofe has been critical of Obama's intent to close the prison. Quote, there has never been a documented case of torture at Guantanamo. Inhofe went on to say, I just don't know whose side he's on. You can read full coverage online, including the full transcript of the speech, online at newsok.com.